Get started with prayer here. And we pray. Surely I am being turned to thee, O Allah, being upright to he who originated the heavens and the earth, and I'm not of the polytheists. Surely my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of the worlds. No associate has he. This is my commandment, for I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the king, and there is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. I have been greatly unjust in myself, and I confess my faults. So grant me protection against my faults, O Allah, for none can grant protection against faults except thee. Turn away from us the evil and indecent morals, for none can turn from me the evil and indecent morals but thee. But guide me, O Allah, to the best of morals, for none guides to the best of morals but thee. And bless Muhammad and the followers of Muhammad as thou didst bless Abraham and the followers of Abraham. And make Muhammad and the followers of Muhammad successful as thou didst make Abraham and the followers of Abraham successful. For surely thou art praised and magnified in our midst. And O Allah, we beseech your aid, guidance, and protection, your forgiveness and your mercy. We seek refuge in thee from the accursed Satan. We invoke your spirit, your vision, your healing, your strength into this session, this evening. These things we ask in the name of your great servants, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Ameen. Ameen. Okay. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. And once again, I'd like to greet my dear, beloved family of Islam here in the wilderness of North America, specifically the wilderness of North Georgia. In the nation, greetings of peace and paradise. Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak.
Wa alaikum salam. Ramadan Kareem, sir.
All right. So we'll go ahead since we're going to have a somewhat abbreviated session today because of our dear brother Luqman. Get on and support what he has to do and what he has to say. We start now on part 20. And okay. I got one flag that I didn't have highlighted here. We started off with the very first ayat, which is 60. Anybody want to read 60?
Where's my Holy Quran?
I'll read it if no one wants to.
Yeah, go ahead, and then we'll let Sister Cheryl read the next one.
Okay.
Yeah.
What page are we on for my reading? I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right, dear. It's 761 on the PDF version. I'm not sure if that's the same.
In the Malana Muhammad is page 737, Sister Cheryl.
737. Thank you.
Malana Muhammad, you're welcome.
The faithful will be exalted, part 20. Or who created the heavens and the earth and sends down for you water from the cloud? Then we cause to grow thereby beautiful gardens. It is not possible for you to make the trees thereof to grow. Is there a God with Allah? Nay, there are a people who deviate.
Praise be to Allah. And basically, with that, I flagged that because I just thought it was important for us to recognize the power of Allah. Recognize the power that is beyond self. Well, and then maybe that might not be the best way to characterize it, because if you say, you shouldn't say power, or I shouldn't say power beyond self, because it's not beyond self. If I'm God, if I am who the Honorable Elijah Muhammad say I am, it's not beyond myself. It may be beyond my current capabilities. See, because we're growing, we're coming up out of the death that our enemy has put on us. So he says, is it not possible for you to make the trees thereof to grow? No, not now. Is there a God with a law? Nay, there are people who deviate. And see, one thing about it too is that we know that this Quran from 1400 years ago, that was just the latest installment of the major revelation from Almighty God Allah. But when the Savior came to visit us, he gave us more revelation. He gave us more insight into the Quran. And as in the third surah, family of Amaran, was talking about the Messiah who would teach us the Torah and the gospel and the book and the wisdom. So that there were some missing components of knowledge that had not been yet revealed. And it makes me think of when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said way back in the late 70s or early 80s, he was saying that God would not, this Quran don't have the ultimate truth in it. The ultimate truth is not going to be here. And for two reasons. One was that God was not going to reveal the ultimate truth of his religion during the time that the devil was supposed to rule. See? And so, and I forgot the other one that quick. I guess that's what Ramadan will do to you. So my mind keep on snapping back to that bean soup, interrupt the train of thought. But he's just saying that this what we have in Quran is just sort of it's the basis of the revelation, but Allah was just not going to reveal everything at that particular time. And what the Savior brought us is another level, another layer of wisdom. All right, so we move down to ayat 62. Would you like to read that one, Sister Cheryl?
62?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Or who answers the distressed one when he calls upon him and removes the evil and will make you successors, and will make you successors in the earth. Is there a God with Allah? Little is it that you mind.
Thank you, sis. Yeah, so basically there too, he's just really he's just trying to wake us up. He's trying to wake us up, and by pointing out some of the things that you and I, we know we can't do that. If somebody calls in distress, and unless we are in close physical proximity, we generally are not going to hear any distress calls from anybody, you see. And so he's just pointing this out because these are things that I think we need to be reminded of. We haven't gotten to that famous, was that 55, 51 or 51, 55, reminding prophet is the believer, but the principle is active all the way through the Quran, where he constantly reminds us of who and what he is, what his relationship to you is. See, and because we have a tendency to drift off, and as the Quran says, surely man thinks himself to be self-sufficient. We're not self-sufficient. We rely on Allah. Okay, we go to Surah 65. Assalamu alaikum, brother Luqman. Ramadan Mubarak.
Walaikum salam, Ramadan Quranic.
All right, so we go to ayat 65.
You want me to read that one too?
Go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
Okay. Say, no one in the heavens and the earth knows the unseen but Allah, and they know not when they will be raised.
Okay, praise be to Allah. So that's just like if I and maybe this is not the best, it might not be the best example. I say if I bake a killer bean pie, and everybody's, oh, what is that you got? What's that in that bean pie? That's unseen. You know what I mean? So I know why it does what it does. I know why it is what it is, and by the same token, Allah knows His creation, and He is privy and the author of the unseen factors, the unseen conditions and properties and characteristics of His universe. Another distinguishing factor. Okay. 79. You can go ahead, sis, if you want. You got a question or something, sis?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
And this is in reference to 65, and I have to go back to what we're trying.
Right.
This came to my mind after reading 65.
Okay.
That they know not when they will be raised. Okay, we all have come together fighting to help our people. Now, and sometimes it may be discouraging. I'm not saying, how do we know what we have to do to help raise our people. I think this, my opinion, is our assignment. How do we sometimes, it's not often, but we get those down days. How do we go and tap in to pull ourselves back to continue on the mission? That's what came to mind when I read that.
That's a good question. What I do, and what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad suggested, is to just work, just to do something, because doing something. See, when you get, if you become discouraged, then obviously something has been keyed in.
Right.
See.
Right.
So whenever something is keyed in, then that means you have a certain level of introversion.
Right.
So your focus, your energy is is going back in towards yourself. And through work, work helps to extrovert you.
Right.
So when you start doing something, even if you just call another sister up, say, Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak, and just maybe share a little something. I just called to check on your sister, or something of that matter, that would be one simple way that I think that we could address that particular thing. But that's a good question, because sometimes even during this pandemic, sometimes I might sink a little bit sometimes, and I may just sink in my mood, and oftentimes I may just lay down, and then just with my awareness that, if I got the blues, something ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
And generally what ain't right is that something has got my attention units.
Right, exactly.
I'm introverted,
Mm-hmm.
and so I just immediately, say I seek refuge in Allah.
Right.
And then when we talk about seeking refuge in Allah, with this technology, well, now we are aware of the different factors. So I know my attention is here. And so when I begin to practice taking my attention off of whatever it is, if I got anxiety, well, I just reorient my attention. Now that's easier said than done based on what it is that's got your attention. However, the whole mechanics of the mechanism of seeking refuge is just basically you become aware of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And since you are aware of the mind now, since you understand you got analytical, subconscious, reactive mind, locked, secondary, engram, you got a preponderance of factors. Since you understand that, since you have studied that, then now you have a perspective by which you have an awakening of what Mr. Hubbard calls the awareness of awareness.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So you can say I seek refuge in Allah, which technically means that I place my attention now on Allah. I am repositioning myself out of whatever this is. I want to exteriorize. So you just thinking about exteriorizing, that's creative processing on one level. Just thinking about, just mocking up yourself in another place. That's one reason why we say at the end, pleasure moments, because we've been deep diving into the reactive mind, and then at the end we hit that pleasure moment. Then we actually place ourselves in another place. We reorient, orientate. I don't know what the proper word would be for that. Reposition our focus, reposition our attention on something else. And the more we do that, the more capable we are, the more able we are able to confront various situations that may be bogging us down.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
And the last thing I just want to say, really, I should just say, I believe we're made for this work. I'm made for this work. And what the real deal, I couldn't get my family. I couldn't get them in Islam. I couldn't get them with Dianetics. I tried. So that's really what I need to say. I moved away. They're doing well. But this is the one thing, everybody else is very open to that. But my own family, which is very important, are not. So that's really what I should say.
Yes, ma'am. The Bible says that a prophet is not without honor, save his own family, save his own town, save his own nation, or really save those who are close to him.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and that's what it is, because we they see us in various states or various conditions of mind, and everybody wants to make you equal to them, especially if they have already made the calculation in their mind that you may be that you may excel them on a certain level. There is a tendency for them to want to make you, to chop you down and make you equal to them.
Mm-hmm.
And so they make that decision, they make that conclusion. So any type of data or perception that goes outside of those parameters of that conclusion is shut off.
Mm-hmm.
They can't see it. They won't allow themselves to see it. And then that is the facsimile that they create. It's actually a service facsimile. On a certain level, it's a service facsimile because it's just serving their what they want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And see, but the sad thing about that is that when we do things like that, when we approach things like that, we setting up confusion.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, because you're telling yourself a lie, maybe you're lying by omission. See, and you're cutting yourself off. You're hurting yourself. And just like when we was talking about yesterday, we were talking about how you just add a little bit. You just got a BS degree, but you say, I got a BS in say chemistry. Well, you say, well, I got a master's in chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
You just embellish that a little bit,
Yes,
and but see what you're doing, you're hurting yourself because you're putting false data into your bank. And one of the major causes of aberration that's outside of the engram, that's outside of the reactive mind, is false data.
Exactly.
So, and I'm sure you understand too, that's what you have in when you start getting on some of the academy levels of auditing, they actually have a process you go through what they call false data stripping.
I have that. I have it.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So that's, there you have it.
I'm not going to, Sister Belinda's very clear. With my now, picture the ideal scene. I had to kind of picture the ideal scene for them and create and detach myself from it. But that's all I need to say. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And we need, we need to have some sessions apart from STW where we can talk about some of these techniques that we can possibly use. Because there's one thing called creative processing that I'm very fond of, but I don't practice it enough. Because see, the more you practice it, the more you practice it, just the stronger that you get, and then a lot of your power comes in the power, your ability to mock something up. See, and I think, and if I'm not mistaken, that's what Sister was saying. I think Sister Joy had mentioned something about the fact that you and her had did something at the church about mock-ups and about how the relationship between the mock-up and postulates.
Right.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So that's So we need to do that. So this may be something that we can talk about during the night of power. If we can get enough people, or if we can get some people to participate. Now I know that Chicago is going to have the night of power on this coming Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking it might be nice for us to have ours on the minister's birthday,
mm-hmm.
which would definitely be the last night of Ramadan.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can have it on any of the odd nights during the last 10 days of Ramadan. And so, and I was thinking also, and we're just kind of getting off the subject just a little bit, that everyone can be thinking between now and then of what's the thing, what is it, what ayat in the Quran or what two ayats or whatever impacted you the most this Ramadan. If we can just maybe get a sampling of the best of our experiences during Ramadan, and I had a good experience, and then I can share it with you. Now you had a good experience based on me, and then we can just all feed off of each other, and I'm kind of looking forward to that, inshallah. And all right. So let's move right on. Go to ayat 89.
Do you want it, Sister Jacqueline, or you want me?
Yeah, just go ahead, jump on in. You want it? Look, Sister Jacqueline, you want to jump on that one?
Sure. Ayah 89, whoever brings good, he will have better than it, and they will be secure from terror that day.
Okay.
Oh, praise be to Allah.
Right. And then, of course, it's interesting that usually in the Quran, you see Allah talks about, and the disbelievers will have, gardens that flow, that, real rivers flow. Then the next verse it say, yes, and for the disbelievers, there's a painful chastisement. Just all of those contrasts that Allah gives us there. And I just thought, when I saw that, I thought about that being, see, when you do good, that means doing of good. Number one, it puts you in present time. That's an extroverted activity. And I just got the cognition right then as we're talking about the problems of work, and how the problems of work, and how one of the main things that he brings to light in the problem of work is the reality of introversion and extroversion. See? So when you bring good, or when you do good, that's generally an extroverted type of thing. See, whenever you extrovert, you generally are going beyond the first dynamic, and you have more. Whoever brings good, he will have better than it, because you seek out of the realm of the gravitational pull of the first dynamic. Okay, we'll move on. 92. And to recite the Quran, so whoever goes aright, he goes aright for his own soul, and whoever goes astray, say, I am only one of the warners. So Allah is saying here, one of the things that he is saying is that he taps back on those buttons, those top buttons on the chart of attitudes of responsibility. You taking care of your business when you go aright, and if you don't, then you're not in the flow of Allah. And the Prophet saying, I'm just warning you. You do what you want to do. I'm just warning you. All right. Did I sense something you were about to say, Sister Tina?
Oh, no, sir. Am I not on mute?
Uh,
No, ma'am.
no, not really. But you are essentially on mute because we didn't hear you, and I just saw the little thing that indicates, I guess maybe you might have touched the phone or something like that. Yeah. I mean,
No, I was
you good.
thinking.
Go ahead.
I was just thinking about what you had said about. I was well. I guess I wasn't in present time because I was thinking about the verse that really stood out to me. There's one particular verse, so I just was thinking about that verse. That's all. I wasn't.
Oh, that's all right. It's all good. It's all good.
Yes, sir.
Would you like to share that verse with us? Is it close?
I have it written down. I have to go back to it, but it's dealing with when I saw the 8 dynamics in it. And then when I went back to it and I looked at it after our session, the 8 dynamics to me were in there, and that was profound. It was a verse early on, and
Okay.
it was very profound to me because the nature part sometimes, eluded me in the Holy Quran, but I saw the 8 dynamics in it, so that was an aha moment for me.
Praise be to Allah. Okay, well, we'll move right on. That was 92. So now we're going to Surah 28. Ayat 5. Anybody can jump on it that wants to. How about you, Brother Luke, man?
Surah 28, verse 5. And we desire to bestow a favor upon those who were deemed weak in the land, and to make them the leaders, and to make them heirs.
Okay. And of course, that's Black folks in America. That's what I was saying. Yeah, that's Black folks in America. And you know what we're trying to do? We're trying to tie everything in whatever way you can, try to technology to that. Because I'm telling you, this these sessions here, and every time we do it, it just rekindles my fire. Because we have been given the supreme wisdom and the supreme technology. And having been given the supreme wisdom, it embellishes the supreme technology beyond the original recipients of the supreme technology. See? And so I think at some point in time we're gonna it's gonna be some further marrying of the nation and the church, because the church definitely got the they've got the technology, and they've got not only that, they got the training. But I personally think too that we're gonna get some help from some of those that are not with the church, so to speak, that are not necessarily in good standing, because I have met numerous Scientologists outside of the church that was just really, really cool as they go, and it seems like the what we see in the church is sort of like a remnant, and you look at the things that they're doing is very interesting, and you can see the level of creativity, and then you get understanding on different levels. Okay, so let's go to ayat 10.
Brother Batin,
Yes, sir.
could you touch on? I know L. Ron Hubbard used the word attenuated before. Are you familiar with that term?
In music, recording, sound engineering, and you know the in book one auditing, when people have what they call boil off,
Mm-hmm.
that is it's called attenuation,
Right.
and that is actually the same as attenuation. Attenuation is the trimming of sensitivity.
The reason why I ask is this: the term in that ayat where it says, "and those deemed weak in the land," the actual Arabic word, when you clear it, means attenuated.
Okay, yeah, and that fits it. And I forgot the definition that I just gave you because it came right now on the. That's some of my wordsmith work, which goes back to what the minister was saying. Sister Belinda put the thing on in the chat the other day about how Allah blesses us with a really a deeper understanding sometimes than what's in the dictionary. Yeah, so to attenuate, so in other words, we have as Black people, we have or if we would rate our power as a people at say 5, just giving you an arbitrary figure, at say 500 horses, you can't see the 500 horses because it's been attenuated by our slave masters. See, and that's one reason why they say everything that they let us, any field that they let us in, when they let us in, then the attenuation is gone, and then we begin to excel. You see, and so the Atanan in the book one auditing, when I studied it, because I know when Belinda was doing a lot of book one auditing, we had a couple of sessions where she had a little boil off, and I was trying to understand that. And so what that is that the boil off is like an attenuation of the engram. And that's one reason why later on, at first in book one auditing, you're taught to just stick with the PC during the Anderton, during the boil off. But later on, he says, don't worry about the boil off. He said, the boil off is, you know what I mean? In other words, you can just ignore it or you can bypass that. That is just a manifestation of the buffer, that's between you, the PC, and the actual reacting mind. So which was what word was what was weak?
The word is, yes. The word weak in another translation also means oppressed, but the word weak in Arabic actually means to be frail, to be slack, to diminish, to be attenuated.
Right, right. So that's what it is. So you're weak. If I got 500 horsepower engine, but I only have access to 300 of the horses, I've been attenuated, and my state in relationship to my potential is weak. That's a weaker engine. That's, right.
Did you
So
spell the antonym, or whatever that word is from book 1?
I think it's ATEN, I think. Atenin. I bet you if you look up the
I look in there. Let me look in the dictionary in the
technical dictionary.
yeah.
That's where I'm trying to find it, but I need to know how to spell it.
Tell you, Sister.
Well, I know it would be
Sister Belinda, it's a ATTENUATE. D at the end. I got it out of the Dynetics book.
right. I know it's in that book there.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you want me to look in the technical dictionary?
I'm looking at it right now. It's not in there.
Okay.
It's not. Yeah, but all of that. See, all of that stuff. I mean, you can go into so many different areas. You know what I mean? It just lets us know, man. We could be in school 20 years and almost just barely touch. You know what I mean? Scratch the surface of this stuff. But that's one reason why we're given the supreme wisdom. See, that's why we're given the supreme wisdom, is because the wisdom, when we understand, when we embrace the concept, the validity, when we internalize wisdom in itself, it helps us to sort out importances. See, because there's always going to be more important aspects of any subject than others. See, and one of the things that Mr. Hubbard says, though, when you're learning something, that you find something in it that's real to you. Don't worry about trying to understand all this stuff that don't sound familiar and all this kind of stuff like that. You said the way you approach it is that you find something that is real to you, and then you begin to build on what is real. See, once you understand certain things, then you can make your mind naturally makes the necessary connections that will bring you into a more comprehensive understanding or view of that particular thing that you are studying. So that's all of that is just beautiful. It's just I don't get tired. I don't get tired of it. by Allah, it makes me think about Allah. Say, it tires him not. He flinging the planets and everything up in the orbit and everything. He said, man, this it tires me not. Think about the minister said. The minister said, I ain't in no way tired. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that's one reason why I encourage us to to stick with this. Stick with this study, because see, something may be said one day and then you don't quite get it. But a day or two or a week or two, maybe even a month or two, or hell, even if it's a year, when you come back around and then you get it, you getting it then might be based on you getting it, you not quite getting it 2 years ago or 2 weeks ago. Because the mind, that's just the beauty of being God. You know, you just wonderful people. So anyway, it's 5:47. We're gonna be off of this bad boy by 5:50, because we're gonna migrate to Brother Luke Mann's class. And so if you got anything to say it tomorrow. Write it down. But we're gonna go ahead on and exercise this discipline, so we can get ready for Brother Luke Mann's class. Thank each and every one of you. And no, we ain't hardly did nothing on this today. But inshallah, tomorrow we'll come up with what day we want to do the Night of Power. And then a lot of the stuff that we didn't have time to cover, we won't cover it all on the Night of Power either, but we'll at least take a stab at some of it, you know. And it's just such a delight to be in the company of fellow scientists, because that's what you are, you know. And really, you're scientists of the highest order, see, because you're not a special, you're like a holistic scientist. So we're going to bring this to a close now, get Sister Jacqueline to decompress us. We'll get Brother Luke Mann to close us out in prayer, and then we'll move over to the next meeting.
Assalamu alaikum.
Islam.
Our family, take a few moments to prepare yourself for the intercession, please. Thank you. Rapidly sketch over the session just ended. Began. Thank you. Sketch over what you have been doing again with particular attention to how you have been sitting. Began. Thank you. Go over the period of this session with regard only to what you have been doing with your hands and things in the exterior world you have heard during this session. Begin. Thank you. Fix your attention upon a pleasant object near you now. Begin. Thank you, and thank you all for your participation.
All right. Thank you so much, sister. Brother Luke Mann, if you would honor us with closing us out in prayer.
Sir, attention prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. Master of the day of judgment in which we now live, thee alone do we serve, thine aid do we seek. Please, Allah, guide us on the straight path, the path upon whom thou hast bestowed favors, not the path upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor of those who go astray if they have heard thy teaching. Ameen.
Ameen. All right, brothers and sisters, go in peace. We have it's the same credentials as before, I presume.
I sent an email out. So
okay.
Yeah, I think I sent. Matter of fact, I think I sent it a couple days ago.
Okay, and what email was it?
Ooh,
that you sent it from? Do you remember?
Oh, from Chess Theology. Chess
Okay.
Theology.
All right. Good deal.
Yes, sir.
All right. Inshallah, we'll see you in a few.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. If anybody needs the link, let us know. All right, and attention, prayer. Pardon me. And we pray. Surely I am being turned to thee, O Allah, being upright to he who originated the heavens and the earth. I am not of the polytheists. Surely my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of the worlds. No associate is he, this is my commandment, for I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the King, and there is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, I am thy servant. I've been greatly unjust to myself, and I confess my faults. So grant me protection against my faults, Allah, for none grants protection against my faults except thee. Turn away from me the evil and indecent morals, for none can turn away from me the evil and indecent morals but thee. But guide me, O Allah, to the best of morals, for none guides to the best of morals but thee. And bless Muhammad and the followers of Muhammad as thou didst bless Abraham and the followers of Abraham. And make Muhammad and the followers of Muhammad successful, as thou didst make Abraham and the followers of Abraham successful, for surely thou art praised and magnified in thy midst. O Allah, we beseech your aid, guidance, and protection, your mercy and your forgiveness. We seek refuge in thee from the accursed Satan, from the reactive mind. We invoke your spirit, your knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, your healing, your purification, your presence in this session this morning. May you bless all of those who listen and all of those who we come in contact with. And bless our people, bless our nation, bless humanity, bless on all of the dynamics. And we thank you, Allah, for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It is in their names that we pray. Amen. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. And I'd like to greet my brothers, my brother and my sisters in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Quranic.
All right. So here we are, brothers and sisters. Day number 21. It's beginning to wind down. I ain't gonna say it's winding down yet. Well, it is winding down, but it just I'm beginning to feel that roll toward the end now. And I'm not gonna say the end because it is not ending. It will just be the completion of the fast. But the benefits that we are receiving this month, they really have no end because they actually serve to propel us into a higher level of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, a higher level of engagement in this world that our God, Allah, have put us in to make us up into himself. And so let us work cheerfully. Let us fast cheerfully. Let us be appreciative of all of the things that Allah have put in our lives, all of the people, because everybody that is in your life, they're in your life for a reason, you know, and all of the situations that you go through, we go through these things for a reason. Allah is a very wise God. And matter of fact, he's got the most wisdom of those having wisdom, the most mercy of those having mercy, the most beneficent of those having beneficence. And all of the attributes of Allah, you know, Allah is the definite article of all of them. And that's why when we take our names, we don't say Al-Batin, we say Abdul Batin. We are the servants of these attributes of Almighty God Allah. So it's with great pleasure that I greet you this morning. And as we keep this Ramadan train going, I almost fell victim to a character this morning that I'm sure you all are familiar with. You might not know him by this name. Because I tell you, it was something about yesterday was my light day of eating. And well, I don't really eat any solid food every other day. I just eat, Sister Belinda and I will do maybe some soup or something like that. And man, I slept so good last night that this morning there was somebody knocking at my door and I had to give him a name. I call him Sleep Iblis. That's a combination of sleep and Iblis. Iblis being that rebellious angel. I didn't want to get up. And sleep Iblis had me. And so, but it's a beautiful thing, during Ramadan, because you sleep in Ramadan, you don't get this kind of sleep during the regular year. And so we have to take advantage, but not invite sleep bliss into our family. So we will continue our journey into the Quran today, starting with the very first ayat of part 21, which is 45.
Yes, sir. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I seek refuge in Allah against the accursed Satan within and without. Part 21, Section 5. The Quran is a purifier. Ayat 45. Recite that which has been revealed to thee of the book and keep up prayer. Surely prayer keeps one away from indecency and evil. And certainly the remembrance of Allah is the greatest force. And Allah knows what you do.
Go ahead on and read through 49.
Yes,
all the way
sir.
up to 49. I'm sorry.
And argue not with the people of the book, except by what is best, save such of them as act unjustly. But say, we believe in that which has been revealed to us and revealed to you. And our God and your God is one, and to him we submit. And thus we have revealed the book to thee. So those whom we have given the book believe in it. And of these, there are those who believe in it, and none deny our messages except the disbelievers. And thou didst not recite before it any book, nor did thou transcribe one with the right hand, for then could the liars have doubted. Nay, it is clear messages in the hearts of those who are granted knowledge, and none deny our messages except the iniquitous.
Allahu Akbar. Thank you, sister.
Can y'all tell me where you are? I've got my Holy Quran, and I've kind of gotten where I'm supposed to be on my Holy Quran.
Yeah, it's Surah 29, the spider, verse 45, starting on verse 45, or ayat 45.
Thank you, brother.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so the first thing that I was looking at, recite that which has been revealed to thee of the book, and keep up prayer. And so when you start talking about reciting there's something about reciting that bonds the reciter with that which he is reciting. So when you're saying certain things, just the saying of it. That's why, like, people say that they're gonna speak things into existence. See, when you say things, you create a bond between you and that which you're saying. And just like your word, if you give your word, what you're doing, you're reciting your words. You're saying, okay, I'm gonna do this. You have my word. So there's something that binds you. They say, have you heard that word is bond and bond is life, and I will give my life before my word shall fail. So it says, recite this and keep up prayer. So you keep on, you recite the truth and you keep up prayer. You keep communication with the author of these words, and by the communication with the author of the words bond. They bind. The communication with Allah binds you with Allah's word. It says, surely prayer keeps one away from indecency and evil. Because see, just the awareness of Allah, you can be aware in terms of sensing his presence, but you can also be aware of him by the not resuscitation. What would be the word for reciting? I guess by the reciting of his word. All right. And I guess that is when you recite it, that is sort of like a resuscitation, And so it says it keeps you from indecency and evil, because see, as you are praying, when you are in the act of communication, then the thought and the reality of Allah permeates your mind. That means it spreads all through your mind, and it really ain't no room for nothing else. But that's one reason why when you pray, before you pray, you seek refuge in Allah from the accursed Satan, because sometimes the Satan that is within us can slip in there and take your attention away. And that's why part of why there's a verse that talks about those who are not mindful of their prayers. So the remembrance of Allah, see, when you remember Allah, then the remembrance of Allah is almost like the presence of Allah. See, it has the same effect as the presence of Allah. And certainly the remembrance of Allah is the greatest force. See, and so I think that is in what Mr. Hubbard is saying. He talks about, see, when you remember something, what is it that you're doing? You are interacting with the facsimile of that particular thing. That's what a remembrance, to do over the memory. Memory. So your memory is on such a high and sophisticated level that your memories consist of all of the perceptics that you have associated with that which you are remembering, which means you remember mass, time, space, wavelength, sight, sound, smell, tactile, body position, temperature, time of day. All of these things are included in your facsimile of God. So when you pull up the facsimile, you access the facsimile. When you get the facsimile of Allah, all of his goodness becomes accessible to you. It becomes close to you. It is a mental connection. And this is the mental connection is closer than the physical connection, which is one reason why the Quran tells us, he says that Allah is closer to you than your jugular vein. Because Allah is in your head. So your heart is down halfway down your body. You understand? So when you remember Allah, and that's the beautiful mechanism of the mind, is that we can remember Allah, not just some two-dimensional picture or portrait. When we think about Allah, we start thinking about his power. We think about his majesty. We think about his glory. We think about his mercy, about his forgiveness, and all of the attributes of Allah. And so when you get under that influence, that is the greatest force against evil. Go to ayat 46. And argue not with the people of the book except by what is best. So we are taught to save such of them as act unjustly, and just proclaim that you believe in that which has been revealed. And to Allah alone do you submit. So it says, argue in the best manner. So that lets you know when someone wants to contend, when someone wants to say something that is against what we believe, we are admonished to argue, but argue in the best manner. That means argue from the highest level that you are able to argue from. You don't just you don't want to get into no shouting match with nobody. You don't want to cuss nobody out. And then you do, and it says the best manner. So we have to be aware that as we're taught that arguments drive away the spirit of Allah. And one thing that happens during the argument is that you become self-righteous. Oftentimes when you get into an argument, it sort of pushes you toward that part of yourself that's self-righteous, which is as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us, self-righteousness is the highest form of hypocrisy. It also puts us in that zone where our ego gets attached to our argument. We have decided that we're going to hang on this point or that point. And if you're arguing in the best manner, you're arguing facts. You're arguing clear, as the Quran says, all through the Quran this month, we're reading about clear arguments. You see, these are the things that we hold on to. That's the best manner in which to argue, and you're always calm. You don't let that bug catch you with the bug of obsession, where you become obsessed. If somebody hits you, then you got to hit them back a little bit harder. And then the thing keeps on escalating. You're doing it in the best manner, which means that you're not trying to destroy the person that you're arguing with. You're trying to give him a clear argument so that he can be aware of the true and the living God. You base all your arguments on divine truth taught to us in the Quran, taught to us by the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the teachings of Mr. Hubbard, as long as we can filter these teachings through our supreme wisdom. Because we definitely don't want to be arguing nothing that we don't know what we arguing about. Then that's when we expose ourselves as being something other than ourselves and really something lower than the reality of ourselves. Okay? Everybody good? Everybody good with that? Oh, yes, sir. Sister Cheryl.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum, family. I came on late. Let me say Ramadan Mubarak and greet my family. Brother, may I have your comments? May I ask a question and get your thoughts on it? Where it says, we believe in that which has been revealed to us and revealed to you, and our God and your God is one. This is what I would like your comments. When I feel Allah reveals to us in accordance to our mission. And Sister Lisa said something once to me. She said, Sister Cheryl, I don't tell what Allah reveals to me because another person would not understand it. That wasn't revealed to them. So my question is Allah reveals to individuals in relationship to the mission that or assignment he's guiding us toward. Can I have your comments on that, sir?
Yes, ma'am. I would say definitely that he reveals. He has a personal based revelation for all of us because none of us are the same. You know, the minister said not even two snowflakes are alike. So it's going to be different. And even as we talk, on this meeting here, you will get something different than what the next person will get. Because if you have a mission and you understand what your mission is and you are striving to fulfill your mission, then your attention is directed in a certain area. There's a certain focus of attention that you have. So you will be more sensitive to the data and the knowledge that is in sync or in congruence with your mission, you see. And so, because if you say, well, my mission is to help the ministers thrust into auditing. So when anybody, it could be somebody in MGT class that ain't saying nothing, ain't got nothing to do about auditing, but you will hear, you will be able to hear something about that. And actually, it's the same thing of what we're doing here this month with the Quran. We are, all of us are either auditors or we are studying the text. So this is a big part of our mission. So what we're doing is, as I'm reading, when I read it, I'm looking at it from the standpoint of the technology. If part of my mission is to help to reveal the unseen, and then so when you got reveal and unseen, they live in the same neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Because if something is revealed, that which is revealed was previously unseen. You see? And so if I have that in my modus operandi, then I am more inclined to see and filter out those things that relate to what I'm trying to do and that relate to my mission. And this is really how the mind is organized. This is how Allah has organized our minds, is that, whatever it is, see, when you make a postulate, see, so your mission could be like a postulate. And so whenever you have a postulate, your postulate has with the postulate is a monitor. When you say you're going to do something, then in your analytical mind is a monitor that is measuring your activity as regards your postulate, as regards what you have decided you are going to do, what you're going to cause, what your mission is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would say to that, sis.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Is that good? Was that a good enough answer?
Yes, sir. That was right on point.
All praises are due to Allah, the Lord of the world. Okay, so let's go to ayat 58 and 59, please.
Ayat 58. And those who believe and do good, we shall certainly give them an abode in high places, in the garden where will flow rivers, abiding therein. Excellent the reward of the workers who are patient, and on their Lord they rely.
Praise be to Allah. So we can pull some of what you were just saying, Sister Cheryl, even out on this in ayat 59. On their Lord they rely. So if we relying on Allah, relying on Allah, then we are automatically looking for everything, every connection that we can that has the Lord in it. Everything that we can find, we're looking for the Lord because we relying on Him. You see. So it says one reason why I flagged this particular ayat is I had started some time back flagging each one of the ones that had some reference to believe and do good, or belief and duty, because this is a prominent reoccurring theme in the Quran. It says believe and do good. So if you believe and do good, what is it? It said you will give them an abode in high places. So high places in the garden wherein flow rivers. So there's that riverfront property again that I think we're gonna have. And I really believe that. That may just I don't think that's too far-fetched to think that. And excellent the reward of the worker. So believe and do good. So all of this talk, all of this beautiful exegesis of the Quran and the teachings and the Dianetics and the Scientology, all of this stuff don't really mean nothing unless we do something with it. We got to do something with it. So the technology, that's the thought. And then when we create the high level thought, it hopefully will generate at least enthusiasm or strong interest. And that strong interest will in turn cause us to do something that is in accord with the nature of the thought, which is the belief. You see, the belief is a very high level thought. And I'm learning as we're going through this Quran, and every time we say it, it's like the theta mesh theory in science of survival, when he says every time you engage into a subject, incident, or whatever it is, that theta records the experience, it records the data. So whenever there's a reoccurring perception of this particular thing, now I'm working with an cumulative knowledge of that which we're talking about. So when we're talking about belief, and it was revealed to me on STW the other day that really belief is like the tractor beam of Allah. When we start understanding tractor beams and pressor beams. Now, for those who need a little bit of a refresher, a tractor beam is a beam of energy emanating from you. So you have the ability to produce energy. You are an energy production unit. So you can produce several kinds of energy, but specifically, you have what they call a tractor beam, which is the beam of energy, just a stream of energy that goes out and pulls things to you. All right, that's a tractor beam. And if you watch Star Trek, you'll see they talk about a lot of times if there's a ship that's out there that's stranded or something like that, they'll put the tractor beam on it and then they'll pull it into the Enterprise. All right. And then you have what they call a pressor beam. The pressor beam is the opposite. The tractor pulls it in, the pressor beam pushes it out. All right. So what we have in the concept of belief is a tractor beam from Allah. So you sitting up, you just thinking something, right? So Allah pulls on you, and then his pull on you is that inkling in your mind of, wow, I believe that this is why Allah did this for me. So Allah is pulling on you. See, he's pulling on you. And as we go into the Quran, we'll see a surah where it says that let him who will take away with his Lord, and you will not accept Allah, please. If Allah don't put that tractor beam out there, you ain't gonna get attracted. Jesus said in the Bible, he said that no man comes unto me except the Father draws him. What is that drawing to Jesus? It's a tractor beam. And so belief is a type, it is the manifestation of the tractor beam that comes from Allah. So we use Mr. Hubbard's description of the infrastructure so we can have a greater understanding of the mechanics of what Allah has in place. This is the unseen. You know, when have we, this is revelation. It's just what it is. Because we have up to this point, we never looked at this like this. Is why we think the minister sent us over here to the Church of Scientology. So now we're becoming intimately familiar with that which our people have not been familiar with before. And that's what that's doing. That's Allah is pulling us. Allah is trying to make us, he's granting us a distinction. See? Because it's science and mathematics. You can't argue with this. I'm sorry. You can't argue with it. You know, and if you did, let's wait till we get through before we argue. but because I'm sure some of you scientists can probably put up an argument, but in the spirit, see, you know, in the spirit of what we're trying to do, we're not trying to argue. Well, it says argue in the best manner, And so, and I guess that's part of what it's saying too. When you argue in the best manner, then the spirit of Allah is not lost. See, when you argue in the best manner. But typically, when we argue as Negroes, we get mad and want to shoot, go home and get our gun. And that's why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, you don't carry nothing even as much as a penknife, you see. But that's what it is. See, that is, and see, these things, see, these are fundamentals that we really have to have before we get out here started trying to worry about the nuclear physics and all this kind of stuff. Like all of that's good. All of that is valid. Don't get me wrong now. All of that is valid, but it's not nearly as valid if you don't have a firm understanding of the fundamentals. That's fundamental. What can be more fundamental than belief? That's the first pillar. That's the first pillar of Islam. That's the first thing that Islam is resting on, is belief. And you will not believe except Allah please. Allah is selecting. Don't forget now, Allah knows everything that he needs to know. You know, he ain't wasting no time on stuff that he don't need to know that's irrelevant. But he knows everything that he needs to know to be God. He knows everything he needs to know to keep his word to you and to me. For he said, heaven and earth shall pass away before one tick of my word shall fail. And so when we become, so it goes back again to the remembrance of Allah is the greatest thing. See, when we remember Allah and remember all of these things that pertain to the one God, and when we begin to understand what a blessing it is to be a believer, which is one reason why the minister, I witnessed it in 1982 and I witnessed it again, I think it was 2006, when he took the titles away from us again. He said, he was really saying the best title that you can have is that of a believer. You know, and then the prophet busted the desert Arabs. They come up to him talking about we believe. He said, man, don't say you believe. Say you submit. Because you have to have, so in other words, so Allah pulls us toward belief. But before we can act in actuality believe, we have to submit first. And that's why Islam is entire submission to the will of God. And then once you submit to the will of God, then the principles are, I believe in that Allah is God. I believe that I'm being drawn. What would give you the idea that you're being drawn? When we live in a world that is diametrically opposed to Allah, it's diametrically opposed to righteousness. The Bible says you was born in sin and you were shaped in iniquity. See? So that whole thing of belief, you can't spend too much time on the concept of belief. And this is demonstrated in the Quran, all through the Quran. I got all of these scriptures flagged, and I was flagging it so much that I stopped writing down believe and do good. I just made me an acronym, BDG. I got BDG all over my notes. And so when you believe, See, when Allah starts attracting you, and then you allow yourself to come into the flow of that tractor beam energy, then what he's attracting you to is a high place in the garden wherein flow rivers, abiding therein. He's pulling you in to an excellent reward. But he wants you to really, really believe. He don't want us to just believe on the surface, that we have to internalize our belief. See? And I remember a brother told me a while back, and it was a real interesting comment. He said that many of us have come into Islam, but not so many of us have had Islam to come into them. So we got a little boom boom shower here. We're gonna try to hang for a minute, but I'm with that old school, you know. Mud dear told me, he said, boy, when the Lord doing his work, you need to turn that TV off. We'll just see, you know, Allah, I submit to thee, Allahu Akbar. We know Allah, he blow up all these computers and everything else you got. You know, that's what they say. He said the thunder is when it's the rain, it's the Son of Man experimenting with high explosives. You see. But I think Allah wants us to be on this call. I really do. Yeah. But if it becomes very evident, we will cut it off. Without hesitation, without fail. So, oh man, I'm feeling good. Everybody tracking good this morning?
Yes, sir.
Y'all sure got some beautiful smiles. I'm looking at these smiles. You just warming me up. I'm gonna have to turn the air conditioner down a little bit. Praises be to Allah. You all right, Brother Basir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we got the young warriors here, man. We know the devil ain't got a chance with a brother like this walking around.
All right, now praise be to Allah.
A young man, you know, he gonna have this stuff here for a long time.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean, man? The devil gonna be so mad at you, brother. But you gonna have, but you getting that what you need to fight him off. You see, and that's belief. See, we can sit up here and talk about all of this fancy stuff till we get blue in the face. And you can just imagine a black man getting blue in the face. But if we have not belief, the belief is that stream of energy from Allah that causes you to evolve stage by stage until your eventual perfection. Belief is the tractor beam energy of the Lord of Rabbil Alamin. He who nurtures a thing stage by stage till its eventual perfection. So I'm just saying, this is the anatomy of belief. It's a thought that's actually created by Allah. He's drawing you in, not just to be close to him in proximity, but he's drawing you in that the particles of energy will become synchronized with his. This is how Allah makes, part of how Allah made the Honorable Elijah Muhammad all up into himself. This energy It has polarity, just like magnetic energy has polarity. And so the more you allow this energy from Allah to flow through you, then the stronger your belief is. And the stronger your belief is in Allah, the more capable you are of forming concepts and ideas that have the reality of God in them. While the minister was asked by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he said that I want you to align your mind with mine. Jesus said, take my yoke upon you and learn of me. Okay, so we will go ahead on this one. All right, so now we're going to go to ayat 69.
Ayat 69. And those who strive hard for us, we shall certainly guide them in our ways. And Allah is surely with the doers of good.
Okay, so there we go. So what that is, and I'm just trying to give it to you sort of in a graphic form, which I've got to really get to the point, and I think that I can probably do it. My wife was telling me about this. She gave me this thing that we can make illustrations to give us more mass. Because when we studied when we learn to study technology, we understand that mass is something that is very helpful in learning. But he says, strive hard for those who strive hard for us, we should guide them. See, in other words, it's like you're swimming. In other words, you're in a river, and then just say you're treading water in a river. And so the river's flowing this way, a certain way, in a certain direction. That can be like Allah's tractor beam. He's taking you in the direction toward him. But you just dog paddling, you just treading water. So striving would be like, okay, now you already in the stream going toward Allah, but striving, you start swimming real fast, trying to get to Allah. That means you striving hard toward Allah. And so he says, those who strive hard. Do you get that picture of what I'm saying? And so he says, those who strive hard, we will guide them in our ways. See? And it's something about striving. See, it's something about the effort. See, when you strive, and we go back to our thought, emotion, and effort analogy again. If someone is striving hard, then it says something about their emotional state. They're on a high emotional state. See? And then if they're on a high emotional state, something produced that emotional state in the form of a thought or a decision. So that goes back to what you were saying, Sister Shara, earlier about the mission. See, when you have adopted a mission, then that you've made a decision. See, you made a decision. So when you see something out here in the field, then you're at least on a 3.3 on the tone scale, which is strong interest. See, interest in something is just basically the direction of your attention. So when we strive hard, see this quality of thought. See, it's not nothing spooky. It ain't like Allah just gonna push a button and then you light up, because Allah knows that you are God too. Allah is trying to light up that memory bank in you that is likened unto himself. So when you chase the chain from the striving to the emotion, to the thought, to the decision, and you'll see that the quality of thought that produces striving, you are able to extract, and Allah allows you by nature of this thought to extract guidance. Because see, once you get to the point where you know a certain amount, you don't need no guidance. Not that you don't need Allah, but Allah takes us to a certain point where we don't need guidance, that we are capable of guiding ourselves. Why? Because we are Allah ourselves. That we are, Allah is he of whom we all depend. Ultimately. But we have the mechanisms, we have the equipment ourselves by which we can guide ourselves. This is how the Honorable Elijah Muhammad became Mahdi. He was taught the way. And when you get taught the way, if I use the example, if I go to the if you teach me how to go to the grocery store at a, day in, day out, and out, day in, day out, at some point in time, I'm gonna know how to go to the grocery store. I'm not gonna need no guide anymore. To guide you, that's just the guide to get you up to snuff, to do what they call in Scientology, they call it the rehab. In mental health science, they call rehab. You down in the dumps, and then you get audited. The auditing helps to rehab your ability to handle certain situations. You've been hurt over by the airport or something like that. And so ever since you was hurt over there, every time you go over there, it's hard for you to look around. It's hard for you feel in some kind of way. So auditing helps to rehab your ability to cope with that environment. See, these are the mechanisms. See, and when we understand these things, then we become Mahdi ourselves. And I ain't saying that for us to just get all puffed up and puffed out on that, but we got to be able to accept the fact, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, that we are God. And he says that the thought left me. Ramadan. All right, so we got two great young warriors on this morning. Brother Cardarius, Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak, sir.
Wa alaikum salam, Ramadan Kareem, sir.
Yes, sir. Glad to have you on this morning.
Glad to be
I
on.
got your twin brother on this morning too, and maybe we all three of us will have some coffee or something at the end of this pandemic, and we can plan our maneuvers to take the rest of this country.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
By Allah. All right. Yeah, you know I'm young. And when I see the young brothers, boy, that light me up. Cause see, I remember when I was your age or even younger. Yeah, I was over our temple at the age of 24. See, so I can relate. I remember how it was. And so but anyway, everybody getting that about belief. We want to get a good dose of belief this morning.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And I have a document I'm working on about belief that I believe is going to be really, really helpful, inshallah. Helpful to everybody, really. You know, Allah's blessing us. Ain't no, you know, the Quran said it asks us the question over and over in the 55th surah. It said, which of my favors will you deny? So by Allah, I'm not denying none. Okay, so let us go on now to the next ayat. It goes into the 30th surah, the Romans, the ayat number 8.
Yes, sir. Ayat number 8. Do they not reflect within themselves? Allah did not create the heavens and the earth and what is between them, but with truth and for an appointed term. And surely most of the people are deniers of the meeting with their Lord.
Praise be to Allah.
Allahu Akbar.
That's right. Allah is Akbar. Allah created everything with truth. And that's another subject that we need to go into as well. I know we got a lot of subjects to go into, but then after all, we were told that we got 20 years of school to go to. So, you know, we can take out a little time for that, but I would like to just really develop some of these subjects, because some of these subjects, Allah just gives it to us as we go. A lot of it, not all of it, you know, it's a combination between, you know, studying. Because I used to, when I was over the temple at age 24, I never asked to be over a temple. I was just the only one available. And so since I was bringing so many people to the meeting, the brother said, well, you just need to start the study group. And so, so when we started having Sunday meetings, every Sunday, I ain't know nothing about being no minister or nothing like that. Ain't know nothing about I knew a little bit about scripture. And so I was forced to study. And I began to fall in love with studying. Went through a few trials and tribulations that made that Quran seem like a good friend, you know. And so now with this, and I got some other war stories about what really got me into Dianetics, but we'll say that for another day too. But I'm just saying, Allah, this is what Allah does when we strive hard. And part of the reason that I'm striving hard is because of the situation that I'm telling you about right now. I'm in a certain situations that make me have to strive hard to stay here. So if I can bear witness, striving hard, Allah guides you when you strive hard sincerely. When you have a sincere heart, Allah will guide you. You know, when you look at him. You know, when you get to a certain point where Allah strip all of the pride, Sister Cheryl, when he strip all of the pride off of you, and you see the need to strive hard. Oh, I done got too far behind. I got to catch up. Catch up without the mustard. Allah created the universe with truth. Truth is the concept or the perception that is aligned with reality. It is truth is reality. Or the concept that allows you to perceive or feel, where feeling is a perception. So we'll just say perceive. And see, when we say perceive, we're not just talking about seeing, because a lot of times when people say, I don't perceive this or that, we think about just seeing, but it is seeing, but it's seeing, hearing. And actually knowing is sort of a high level perception. Knowing is a more complicated perception. It's a more advanced perception. It's a higher gradient perception. And then when you understand something, that is the beginning of knowledge. And then when you have wisdom, wisdom allows you to evaluate knowledge. Wisdom is actually the key to knowledge. Wisdom tells you what knowledge to look for and what knowledge to look away from. See, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is wisdom. Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, wherever he tell you to go, go. So that's wisdom. He is the personification of wisdom. Wherever he tell you to stay from, stay from. Wisdom allows us to determine importances, whether something is important or not. If it's not important, don't waste your time on it. Got me? All right. Let's go to ayat 15.
Ayat 15. Then as to those who believed and did good, they will be made happy in a garden.
Mm-hmm. See, there we go again. Believe and do good. He's telling you. So now why would we be seeing this so much if it wasn't important? See, in this world, we have the tendency to just kind of gloss over things. And that's why when I was taking a lot of courses out at the church, I got a little bit perturbed because like soon as I get through one course, okay, now go on to this, go on to this, go on to that. I was like, well, man, let me let the last course sink in first, because see, that's what happens. A lot of us have done the basics, but we probably could have retained a little bit more if we were not going through this real fast-paced regimen of reading the books or going through the courses and then moving to the next one. And it's almost like when you're eating a meal, you know, if you slow down and you savor each morsel, the meal gets to be a little bit more satisfying. You get more out of what is intended for you to get out of the meal. So it says, those who believe and do good and did good, they will be made happy in a garden. A lot of know we love to eat, especially during this month. You about to say something, Sister Aviva?
Yes, sir. Would you refresh me once again? What exactly is the garden?
Well, it's just the garden that's going to be, I guess, it's heaven. And it is, I think the garden is like a metaphor. The garden, it is a depiction of heaven where things are growing that nourish you. Allah's garden. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. And you have this metaphor of, of greenery and of life. And that Allah is going to put us in this environment of life and pleasant perception. You lie down in green pastures, it's beautiful. It's in a garden. What happens in gardens, that's where you grow your garlic and your lentils and your carrots and your ginger and all of the nourishing foods that also happen to taste good.
And is that why the minister during July 4th represented everything in that garden?
I believe that it is related. I'm not going to say that I know the whole significance of it, but I think that it was depicted in a garden because garden is, like I say, represents heaven, represents life. That's when you bring in, there's more life in a garden. That's because gardens produce that which sustain life. And so he says that you will be made happy in a garden. So what is happiness?
It's understanding.
I go along with that. Yeah. Happiness is understanding. What causes happiness? What is the cause factor? Let's see. Is it in the technical dictionary? Is happiness? Let's see. I'm looking right quick. Okay. Happiness, he says, is not itself an emotion. It is a word which states a condition, and the anatomy of that condition is interest. Happiness, you could say, is the overcoming of not knowable obstacles toward a known goal. Now, what we have to keep in mind here is this technical dictionary does not give you all of the definitions that is in the text. Now, and I just asked you what happened was, and usually if I ask you something like that, I've got an idea in my mind of what I think happiness is. And so the answers that you give oftentimes, most of the time, if not all of the time, they add to my definition if they not the same definition that I got. Because what's happening now, see, you are a God. So what you see when you say happiness, you're embellishing my perception of happiness. And then when we start talking about these words again, we've developed an STW sort of a way, our own kind of way of clearing words. I mean, I say that only because this is the first time I've ever did it like this in all the years I've studied from college on. And it's very similar to what is depicted in Closing the Gap. And so you got people say define, and it's not that anybody's definition is better. It's just a different type of definition. And different definitions, their value is generally according to how the word is being used. See, a certain definition may be more valuable in a certain context. See? So, so I said what it is. Sister Cheryl said understanding. That's not what I had in mind, but when I listened to that, that's exactly what it is. What happens when you get understanding? You tap on a certain thing in your mind. In other words, you can connect understanding with happiness. A lot of times, if you don't understand, see, when I think about it, one of the most troubling times that I've had in my life was a time when I felt like I did not understand what's going on. And when Allah blessed me with the understanding, I was happy. You say, why you do that? Why you do that? You talking to somebody. Why you did that? You know that was so and so and so and so. So then the person gives you couldn't see why he did it. So then once he explained to you why he did it and it makes sense, then now you happy. See? And so happiness, there's actually a course that Mr. Hubbard, a book he's got called The Way to Happiness. And so when you look at the way to happiness and you look at the different things that are presented in that particular book, you will see that you have the underlying at the base of happiness is also integrity. See? So he didn't put that in this technical dictionary, but it's in other things. And that's why it's good for us to study as much of this stuff as possible. See, and because if we can't be one dimensional, because that's what we used to. A lot of us have grown into bad habits when we study. You know, you have to look up a word, and then you find the meaning, and then that's enough. I've had enough. All right. So anyway, believe and do good. See, when you believe and do good, see what you're trying to do is develop integrity. And integrity is part of a word family where one of the members of the word family of integrity is purity. Purity, holiness. We never really, we go to the holiness church. People go to all the years I went to a Baptist church, they never told me what a Baptist was. All these years some of us been to the holiness church. I know Sister Belinda went to holiness church. They ever tell you what holiness was?
No, sir.
But the preacher all in there talking about holiness or hell. Well, that may be true, but what the hell is holiness? It's just such a blessing, brothers and sisters, to understand, to get an understanding of these things that are where you can be firm. You can be firm in your conversation. You can know what you're talking about. And that's what part of what Scientology is. It's knowing how to know, or knowing how to know answers. You see. All right. Go to ayat 9, read 19, sister.
Ayat 19. He brings forth the living from the dead and brings forth the dead from the living and gives life to the earth after its death. And thus will you be brought forth. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. So this deals with the thing that I extracted from this was what we call in Scientology the cycle of action. Cycle of action, which means start, change, and stop. Start is conception. Change is the actual life that you live. And stop is death. Now we began to look at this cycle a little different when we were talking about, so we said belief, faith, and knowledge. The cycle of action, the complete cycle of actions. I believe that this is true. So I'm willing to take a chance by going out on faith. And the Bible says faith without works is dead. So I believe it, then I'm going to work it. And so the result of my work is not, and I don't believe it no more because it works. So now I know it. Mm-hmm. And then so understanding is just the gradient. Is that when you believe, have faith, and then you know. And then as soon as you know, well, then of course, you're at a different place now. You back at zero again. Well, I noticed. And then so you, as Allah attracts your knowledge, he attracts your thoughts. He brings you into a higher gradient of belief based on that knowledge that you just confirmed to be knowledge. And so he bring forth the living from the dead, and then the dead from the living. Then he gives life to the earth after its death. And thus will you be brought forth. That Allah gives us several cycles of action. (21)
Ayat 21. And of his signs is this, that he creates mates for you from yourselves, that you might find quiet of mind in them. And he puts between you love and compassion. Surely there are signs in this for people who reflect.
Praise be to Allah. And I just, when I was reading this, I kind of flagged it because it made me think about something that the minister, when I've heard the minister teach on quiet of mind. He's talking about when you get married, when you find a mate, that the mate helps you to find quiet of mind. And we know on the chart of attitudes, you have at the top serenity. The Lord's Prayer said he makes me lies down in green pastures. Then it said it leads me beside the still water. So this is the path of Allah, that we have mates. And then if you don't have a mate, then he's promising us in the kingdom that we will be joined to mates. So Allah, he promises this now, and Allah is not, he's not the kind of God that does not keep his promises. So he says that so you can find quiet of mind. He said, put between you love and compassion. So that's what he said. He said that he put love and compassion between the mates, that he gave us this attraction. So that goes back to what we said. We talk about the tractor beam and attract. That word tract. Tractor, track, attract, tractor. All right? Just marinate on that a little bit. (27)
Ayat 27. And he it is who originates the creation, then reproduces it. And it is very easy to him. And his is the most exalted state in the heavens and the earth. And he is the mighty, the wise.
All right. So we were just talking about the cycle of action, and the cycle of action is part of the mechanism of the reproduction. You create something, it gets recreated. Once you create something, and then you look at it, you examine it, analyze it, then you correct it. It's all because the way the nature of the universe is that it's always something that is not quite correct. And this is what has established the momentum of time. And I think it might have something to do when they say the evil accident of time, because the fact that something is persistent, there's a certain amount of untruth, a certain amount of impurity that is in it. So some people Hubbard calls it a lie. That might be a little strong for us Muslims, Say that Allah put a lie in us because we real sensitive to the devil. We know the devil is a lie. But then the devil is from God. The devil was put here by God. The devil is controlled by God. The devil is a tool of God. All right? Go to 39.
Ayat
Wait a minute, excuse me. My bad. 30. 30. I skipped over 30.
Ayat 30. So set thy face for religion being upright, the nature made by Allah in which he has created men. There is no altering Allah's creation. That is the right religion, but most people know not.
Okay. So we got, I'm sure most of us have seen this. Set your face for religion being upright. The nature. And as we have been taught from day one, that Islam is not really a religion. It's called a religion because we are in an environment that recognizes religion, but it is really the nature in which man is created. So now when we start talking about nature, this is something that is very critical. It's on the same level of what we were talking about earlier when we were talking about belief. Now we could talk we have had whole sessions where we talked about nature. Nature is that which is natural. Nature is what you're trying to do without trying to do it. It's just something that you just gonna be doing. So your nature, number one, your nature is to survive. And even in the old temples, we used to say which one will survive the war of Armageddon. That's what we all trying to do, is survive. When you get up in the morning to do whatever you do, you're doing it to survive. You go to the grocery store. Why? To survive. You try to keep your business straight so you can survive. You just stop doing stuff, you're not going to survive. So you got to always try to survive. And that is your nature. And so this is part of the value of Scientology and Dianetics, is because it makes us more familiar with our nature. And before the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we didn't know nothing about no nature. They talking about nature, talking about the birds and the bees, and the only thing that we knew about nature as a people generally, when you talk about nature, you think about something that may be sexual or something like that, But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us a higher gradient of understanding of nature, in that he said that the nature of the black man is good. The nature of the black man is righteousness. And so we begin to understand nature from a whole different level when we begin to see, this is wisdom. See, because this man tells you, he gives you one sentence. And so now he's giving you that which you can evaluate all black folks on. You can say he's good. He's a good man. He may be acting crazy, but there's some good in there somewhere. He may be wrong as 3 left shoes, but we know that there's some righteousness in there somewhere. So then we begin to look at ourselves differently, and understanding that we understand, and we could see the tendency, the propensity, the leaning of ourselves toward being righteous and of being good. So Mr. Hubbard, he takes the thing on a whole nother level. He puts nature under a microscope, and this is part of what we're dealing with in Handbook for Pre-Clears. He breaks down your nature. The chart of attitudes, this is your natural. These are natural tendencies, to be responsible, to be caused, to know, to embrace truth, to be right. See? And so that's what Islam is. And then he gives us the 8 dynamics, and we're going to land this plane on this one. He gives us the 8 dynamics, which really divides our nature up 8 ways. You know, that you have an urge, and your nature is like your urge, you know, just like you got an urge to eat. That's part of your nature. You got an urge for sex. That's part of your nature. So he gives us these 8 concentric circles that represents and divides up your nature. So what I'm saying to you right now, so you know, you can take that stuff right now and then you understand more about your nature. See? So that's all we'll go on with on that this morning. Where I don't want to take up your whole day. We've been going consistently 30 minutes over. It's only supposed to be an hour, but we consistently go over 30 minutes. You know, like to thank everybody for tuning in, zooming in. Thank Sister Haviva for her recitation and everybody else, Sister Jacqueline, Sister Cheryl, Sister Roberta in the house, and my young warrior brother Basir. And we thank each of you. Now, don't you go nowhere, Basir, because I'm going to get you to close out in prayer in just a minute. All right. So we're gonna bring this meeting to a close. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Man, this Ramadan Quranic, it is Ramadan Quranic. Ramadan Quranic Straightwire has really blessed me, and I hope it has blessed you as well.
Brother, may I say something, sir?
You must say. Why ask the question that you know the answer? Go ahead.
I want to thank Sister Belinda for putting those notes up. I find that so helpful. So I just got to acknowledge her for I find it so helpful to give me that mass.
Praise be to Allah.
Praise, that's right.
Thank you.
Praise be to Allah. That's right. Yeah, and what you I don't know if you're aware of it or not. So if you got a PC, if you right click, and they'll say, and then you'll get the little message that says select all.
Right, I did.
All right, so if you hit select all, so then now what you do on your keyboard, you hit the Control CTRL.
Right, Control.
And then at the same time, hit C.
Okay, Control C.
Right. So now you can open up Word now. You can open up your word processor like Microsoft Word, and then you hit Control V for paste, and you can paste that. You can paste all of that into a document.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Got it.
That's right. That's what we said. We were going to have one of those some of those little tech classes as well, you know, so to maximize your use of this technology, you know, because it is wonderful. I remember when Allah blessed me. I took my first computer lesson in 1970.
Okay.
And so, you know, it's like, and I look and see where everything is evolved to, you know, but I have an advantage in that, you know, I've just been around that all my life. But anyway, thank you for those wonderful comments. And I have to always give kudos to Sister Belinda too, because she need kudos just to be able to stay with me.
Praise be to Allah.
If I had some money, I'd give her some. Because she deserve it, you know. And say and whenever Allah take me from or whatever it is, and y'all can look, she might become a trillionaire, you know. Because a lot of people say, I ain't gonna give it to him, but she deserve it. I don't know about him. That's right. Praises are due to Allah. I don't know what I would do. I mean, I am really sincere. I ain't lying in front of Allah this morning.
Praise be
Don't
to
know what I would do without my wonderful helpmeet.
Praise be to
I prayed for, and Allah brought it to me.
Praise be to
I mean, and it's real funny too, because you know how it is, because I had been married before. I was married to a sister in the mosque and all this kind of stuff, and it just didn't work out. So Belinda wasn't in the mosque, and so, but we became real good friends, and so I would, I'd be trying to slip little Islam here and there. And so I thought I was gonna, I thought I was like the fisherman. I was gonna throw the fishing rod out there and I was gonna reel her in. I be doggone, this sister jumped right on the boat. You just jump out the water into the boat. I was like, what?
Way to go, Sister Belinda.
Yes.
Praise be to Allah.
But a blessing. That's what I'm saying. Allah got some for somebody for everybody.
That's right.
That's right.
So part of my ability to do what we're doing now, she'll tell you our first conversation that we have, we could draw a line straight to STW. Because this thing has been on my mind for a minute. And then it's on her mind too, because she's been receptive, and so helpful. She's just so helpful. Sometimes she's too helpful to be in, but anyway, but I'll take that. I'll take that, Don't stop helping, baby. All right. But anyway, so much for that. I thank Allah for Sister Belinda. I thank Allah for each and every one of you. And you're all like family to me. I say that all the time, but doggone it, I believe it, and I'm very sincere when I say that. So we're going to let Sister Jacqueline do the end of session.
Too, Brother Bateen.
I'm sorry, so what's that now?
And you are our family too.
All praise be to Allah. I'm honored. I'm honored because like I tell people, I was the only child. So, everybody, my brother and sister. I used to growing up, I ain't had nobody to play with. Man, I'd be over my friend's house at breakfast time. And I be because I want somebody to play with, And so this one parent, she had some for me, boy. I come over there, she put me to work. And I work cheerfully,
Yes.
So all praise is due to Allah. So Sister Jacqueline will do that, and then right after that, we'll let Brother Basir close us out with a closing prayer.
Thank you for a good class, sir.
We thank Allah. Thank Allah. Thank you, sister. Thank you for your appreciation and your acknowledgement. See, that's your nature there, is exchange. You receive something, so you gave something back in the form of a compliment. That's exchange.
To Allah.
You good, I'm good. You're going to be good anyway. I'm going to be good anyway. But we both better because we're acting in accordance to our nature.
All praises due to Allah.
That's right.
Okay.
All right, Sister Jacqueline.
All right. Assalamu alaikum.
Another top soldier.
That's right.
That's exactly.
All praise be to Allah. Family, let's please take a few moments to prepare for end of session. Thank you. Rapidly sketch over the session just ended. Began. Thank you. Sketch over what you have been doing again, with particular attention to how you have been sitting. Began. Thank you. Go over the period of the session with regard only to what you have been doing with your hands and things in the exterior world you have heard during this session began. Thank you. Focus your attention upon a pleasant object near you now. Began. Thank you, and thank you all for your participation.
All right. Thank you. All right. Brother Bashir, if you would close us out in prayer, we would be honored, brother.
Yes, sir. Attention, prayer. Surely I've turned myself to thee, O Allah, striving to be upright to him who originated the heavens and the earth, and I am not among the polytheists. Surely my prayers and my sacrifices, my life and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of the worlds. No associate has he, and this is my commandment, and I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the King. There is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. I have been greatly unjust to myself, and I confess my faults. So grant me protection against all my faults, for none grants protection against faults but thee. And guide me to the best of morals, for none guides to the best of morals but thee. And turn away from me the evil and the decent morals, for none can turn away from me the evil and the decent morals but thee. O Allah, bless Muhammad, and bless the true followers of Muhammad, as thou did bless Abraham and the true followers of Abraham. Now will I make Muhammad successful and the true followers of Muhammad successful. Thou did maketh Abraham and the true followers of Abraham successful. For surely thou praiseworthy and magnified and thou missed forever. Amen.
Amen. All right. Go in peace. We'll be back tomorrow, inshallah. Back tomorrow, 10 o'clock a.m. May Allah bless each and every one of you with a successful, with a great day of fasting. Let's see, we got what, about 8.5, 9 hours? I like to joke about that. But anyway, may Allah bless you. Inshallah, we'll see you a little later.
Yes.
All right. Assalamu alaikum.
Like salam.
Alaikum salam, family. Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Kareem.
Alaikum salam, says Ramadan Quranic.